Hello, I was doing some reading early this morning. It's part of my morning ritual to read the news, and I came across an MSN article. It describes a 17-year-old and her thoughts on mental illness in Singapore. In it, she admits that she hails from a privileged background. And she was feeling very stressed out by parental expectations, the education system. Oh, by the way, she was studying in international school, and because she couldn't cope, her parents had to admit her into IMH to treat her for mental illness. Now, this is not surprising coming from my background, because we teachers do know about teenagers who have been admitted to hospitals with mental illnesses and depression. She cited depression as as a condition she's suffering from, and she mentioned that it is a condition that society it's not comfortable to talk about, and I totally understand that. Right. In the article, she also mentioned that she has a younger brother who committed suicide, I think the year before, while he was studying in JC. Before we jump into conclusions, I think I tried searching online for other news sources that may have published this piece of news. I only found the Independent SG, and MSN was quoting from Quora, the app. I don't know what the app is all about, but I did go into the source, and in it, it was a sort of a confession page where many people write in to talk about the challenges that Singaporeans face. So now, depression, mental illness, it is not something we talk about. It's not something the social media or the local press reports on frequently. It is a hush-hush, see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil situation. I remember when I was a teacher, we have heard of students committing suicide. I'm just puzzled as to why these news are not reported in the news. I mean, suicide incidents are not reported in the news. We're often told that, it's not nice that suicide rates among the young gets mentioned in the news because it says something about society. But to me, depression and suicide rates are on the rise in every major cities around the world. And Singapore is not an exception. And in fact, the suicide rate among youths has spiked over the years. I'm referring to Singapore. Why are we so harsh about it? Is there shame involved? Does it say something about our education system? When it comes to examination stress, the media is quick to blame parents instead of examining the school system. But of course, just earlier this year, and MOE has come out to say that we are working to reduce the stress levels in schools. So come 2020, or is it 2021, they are revamping they're doing away with streaming, and that's a big overhaul. And the overall objective is to reduce stress and to make education or schooling more purposeful, more fun, less stressful, without compromising the education objectives or results. That's interesting, right? Now, we don't talk about teen suicides, teen depression openly, and a lot of youths who are suffering from depression, who are stressed out, they are ashamed to talk about it openly. And more and more of them, I also saw in my Google search, more and more of them are turning to get help without even parental knowledge. Is that surprising? Now, another incident that I see similarities in is the one where Minister Heng, potential future Prime Minister, he mentioned something recently and it caused quite a stir in Singapore. What did he say? Well, he said that the older generation in Singapore, they are not prepared to accept a minority as the next PM. And apparently, a lot of Singaporeans got very upset about it, and it's in light of this hush-hush situation, I'm actually glad that Minister Heng had the courage to surface this issue of race and leadership. It takes a lot of courage to mention the unmentionable in public and to face the consequences after all. While he claimed that he thinks the older Singaporeans are not ready, a lot of locals mentioned that, a lot of Singaporeans and others mentioned that, hey, why should we avoid this topic? Who says that we're not ready to accept minority as member, as the future PM? Now, why is it difficult for us Singapore to talk about such issues like race, depression, suicide? Let's face it, censorship is one of the factors. Censorship is necessary. I think when it comes to political instability, efforts to preserve political stability, we need to protect some secrets like stuff in the military, right? But when it comes to depression, teenage suicide rates, and race issues, I think we should discuss them openly in the press, and it's through open discussion, open dialogue that we will grow as a nation, as a collective society. If we remain hush-hush, then fear, shame, and gossip, strife, unhappiness will just brew in the underground, and it will brew on social media. People will be unhappy, and these items eventually become like political mudslingers. We use this to slam our leaders. We use these incidents to say that, see, our leaders think that we're like children. They want to control us. There's so much control that they don't allow us to openly discuss sensitive issues. I think the time has changed. The fact that Minister Heng has openly talked about race issues, knowing that he is actually the favorable candidate for the next PM. I think that is a good sign. We should take this positively. Similarly, we should be positive when it comes to the MSN report on the 17-year-old. It's time that we take these skeletons out of the closet and acknowledge them. When we acknowledge them, we are doing some soul searching, which is necessary. We need to look at ourselves and see what went wrong, what can be done to help the young, to help people who are suffering from depression, to help people who are contemplating suicide, to help people who are struggling so that the victims will feel no shame. They can openly talk about it with their parents, with their adult mentors in their lives, their teachers, their youth leaders, and what have you. And when it comes to race issues, yes, we should discuss this respectfully, given the political climate around Southeast Asia. And yeah, I think I'm excited because these issues are surfacing on social media, and instead of slamming our leaders, instead of finger pointing, blaming the parents for the stresses students, the young face in school, instead of blaming the school system, instead of blaming our political leaders, let us listen and then to understand, let us pause for a moment to think, hey, how true is that? Of course, we have to check the sources. If it's true, then let's openly and humbly talk about such issues, because in doing so, we'll be able to move forward. While I was preparing my lunch earlier, yes, I do cook. I was looking at this bulb of onion, and you know, as you peel the onion, if you don't protect your eyes, you end up just tearing. And I think discussing sensitive issues or it's like peeling an onion. You peel away each difficult layer, and as you do so, you tear, because it is challenging. It is something that is difficult. It's something that is awkward, but it is very rewarding, because you go right into the heart of the onion, and you in the process, we're trying to deal with issues openly. Let's do that.